How we doing, traders? And welcome to pre-market at the close. I'm filling in for Spencer Israel. I'll try to do my best here for you guys today. But like always, we got our man here, Joe Elconin. He's gonna be the brains of today's show for sure. Let's get into kind of what we saw in the market today. What did you see out there, Joel?
Uh, by the dip, we had a early decline. Took us through the pre-market low, but you know what? We got to the bottom number on my sheet, 6-day low, 42 even. Got to 41.50 and turned around and right back at the highs of the regular session. Still going to be a little bit negative week for the market, but well off the lows of the week, so that's a good sign. Crude finally taking a little bit of a breather. That's down to buck at 52.21. You have gold, man. I'm getting tired of looking at my gold positions. Gold's down 23.30 at 18.27.60. Silver right nearly a buck at 24.81 and 40,000, man. That's like kryptonite for this Bitcoin. Down $4,225 at 35,380. So the metals and the Bitcoin taking a little bit of a hit today.
Yeah, I mean, like always, there's going to be the waves up and waves down. I think today was one of those waves down, and when you start trying to approach to see what's at a discount and to see if this market's going to hold here. But let's get
A little bit
into.
of nervousness over the weekend. A little bit nervousness over the weekend on Sunday. There could be some armed protests across the country, so we'll see. We'll see how our state capitals deal with that. But definitely, always on the weekends, you can expect a little bit more of a overnight reaction to the news. And you know what else? This is not only a 2-day weekend; it's a 3-day weekend.
Yeah,
So you
don't
equity
forget it.
traders, yep. So you buckle up. Whatever you put on the close here, you can't touch until Tuesday morning at 4 a.m.
All right, so let's get into some of the movers of today. Just to let everyone know what we're going to do today is we're going to do a little bit of an extended ticker time. So we'll try to roll through this beginning part quickly. So
Yep.
definitely stay tuned, guys. We'll get to some of your tickers. Let's get into Palantir. Let's pull up that. So, Palantir's shares were trading higher this morning following the news that Kathy Wood's ARK Invest purchased more shares in the company. So, how did it do today, Joe?
That trade works until it doesn't work, right? I mean, there you go. The differentiation here in the colors is the pre-market session, and then you have the regular session. So any early buyer in this one, they caught a bid and they did okay. But if you didn't exit, here you are. You're trading at the lows of the session. I got a pretty wide range here, on my major support, major resistance, and sometimes that's a good thing because things aren't always breaking out or breaking down. So just look at the range there. Got a little bit above, made a new high for the week, but you certainly, if you're taking this home, you hope Kathy buys a little bit more today because ending on the lows of the session.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you definitely have seen the interest in whatever she's buying, so I think it'll definitely at least be on watch for what move she makes next.
Yeah,
All right,
frankly, that
guys.
that strategy, if that's your strategy and that's what you're trading, just don't get married to it.
Yeah, like always, the market adapts, so always be willing to adapt. That's what I always say. You know. All right, guys. So let's get into the next part here. Let's look at the banks. Let's take a look at some of the banks, see how they did. Trading lower amid weakness in the financials after several banks, reported their quarterly earnings. Let's take a look at maybe Bank of America and some of the others.
Okay, let's take a look. We'll just rip through these. You gotta keep in mind, man. These things had a nice run up into the report. So Bank America, I don't spend much time on. Did we even get to Friday's closing price here? or excuse me, Thursday's closing price. Thursday's close was 32.95. Where are you at now? You're a little bit below that, 32.93. So kind of an undecided day. You were as high as 33.63. Couldn't see yesterday's close of 33.99. But the one I wanted down is the big dog, the Bank of Banks, J.P. Morgan. And what's interesting about J.P. Morgan is look how this thing, and this is my chart here that I did for my article of the day. Let's just pull this up here and drill down on J.P. Morgan because we love J.P. Morgan, right? You made a 40-month, all right, end of the year, everything's looking good. And this is the end of 2019, right? What could go wrong in the market? Well, you make a new all-time high, and then that's what can go wrong in the market. Well, that will never happen again. And you made a 40-month low, 78.09, 40-month low, and then you had the quick recovery. But you know what? You could have bought J.P. Morgan under $100 in the first week in November. The first week in November. And then, boom, you had to gap and go. I don't know if that was a vaccine Monday or not. I know it was a couple days later. You make a new all-time high. I just keep an eye at all-time closing high price. We made that on yesterday's session at 140.14. Got a little bit above it in today's session. I believe we got to 40.65. But for any of you long-term traders in there, and I know we just have a bunch of scalpers and day traders in here, looking at JP Morgan on a long-term perspective, you want to see a close above 141.17. That is the number of the week for JP Morgan next week.
The old mute trick there, but all right, guys.
You know what? You wouldn't be part of the show if you didn't have the mute trick.
Of course, of course. You know how it goes. I did see some questions in the chat, so
Let's go to the chat.
We definitely try to be transparent. So I got a question really quickly before we get into the tickers. You guys already start putting those tickers in the chat, but I did get the question if I did get into OSTK. I know that's on everyone's mind. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chart, and I will let you guys know. Full disclosure, I did take a position in OSTK today, and I think the market taking a dip. I'm not really looking at it too negatively. I think it could be perfect timing. One of the things that I like to do is I don't like to buy into strength. So it actually is, buying into a red candle isn't the worst as long as I can measure my risk. So I'll go ahead and make sure that I stay to the plan. But like always, guys, what I try to do is measure the story, look at a little bit of the fundamentals so that I can get a little bit deeper into that story, and then try to measure my timing with the technicals. And what I try to do, guys, is try to teach you guys by the process, really not by the picks that I make, because at the end of the day, no one's going to be 100% right. But if you can kind of learn from people's process, that's how you become, at least I would say, a better trader.
I mean, if you loved it this morning at 65, then you absolutely have to be married to it at 60, right?
Hey, let's just say I'm not far from that 60.
No. I mean, there's people that buying on strength is one thing. You would look at them follow through. I mean, you identified it. I don't know if Bitcoin getting slammed today is working against you or not, but you know what? You picked a point and you picked an exit. So if you picked your point and you picked an exit, then you have the worst possible scenario, right? I mean, that's the thing. You're predicting, but you're limiting and your risk reward ratio. So you much rather had seen it hit your limit buy and close over 65. But how often does everything go according to plan?
Exactly. You can't always measure when the market's going to go up or when it's going to go down, but one thing you can do is make a plan. And that's definitely what I try to do every time. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into some of these in the chat. I'm definitely seeing, of course, right off the top, we're seeing one of your favorite, Peloton. What's going on with Peloton?
Oh,
Manuel
gee.
bringing in Peloton here.
Uh,
I think Joel doesn't like to look
I
at
don't
this
even
one
know. You
anymore.
know what? I'm almost going to talk to my chief financial officer and get out of this position so I don't have to talk about it anymore. Uh, you hit a new all-time high yesterday, right? And you have some profit taking. So what are you gonna do? I mean, are you gonna head for the exits? No. What you're gonna do if you're playing this thing is you're gonna look at this close from yesterday. You're not gonna worry about that high. 171.09. I mean, that's not a relevant number to me. A relevant number to me is 165 and a quarter. And that was yesterday's close. It's not even the all-time closing high. So the question moving forward with Peloton is it just a COVID stock or is it a stock, a company that's going to persist beyond COVID? That's the thing. And right now, since I can't go to the pool and I'm doing walks, I love my Peloton. And I bought the machine in December, and that like $65 a month, whenever they sent. I mean, to me, it's worthwhile. So it just, it don't look at that as a COVID, non-COVID play. Look at it as if a stock that you think is going to be around in 5 or 10 years. And I do.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, at least in that industry, and I don't know if you notice so much about Peloton, is how much they're doing advertisement that's not really intended strictly for their bike, but more intended for a personal trainer outlook and how they're approaching their personal trainers, and that now you get that personal trainer in your home because you don't have to go to the
Yep.
gym anymore. And then so I think that's the story that's also building with Peloton that we can keep an eye on.
Yeah, I agree. I had fundamentals. I wish I would have bought pool when I bought Peloton, but people are building pools, but it's after the fact. Still long, full disclosure, no sell orders, no stop orders on the downside.
All right, so I'm seeing mention here of CGC here. So it's a cannabis
Hot.
play.
Yeah.
You know what they say about cannabis, right, Joel?
Uh, the stock can never get too high.
No, how you make money in cannabis stocks? You
Buy
buy
high and sell
high.
high.
You know it, my friend. All right, so let's take a look at CGC. How they do today?
Uh, a good day for a while, but now you got a little bit of a red candle. I mean, this stock has had a major run, but what I like it from a technical perspective is it's giving you something to keep an eye on for next week. And let's just not split hairs here. Call it $35. 34.89. You're high on Thursday. 35.08 today. Actually, it was 34.69. So what that tells me, when you see like a low just below a round number, and you see a high just above a round number like that, it tells you that a large institution or a large group of traders, they're saying, hey, when this gets to 35, we're going to sell 8.79 million shares. And you just can't put an order out like that nowadays. Because if you put an order out there like that, then the HFT is going to sniff that out and you'll never get done. So you got to be sneaky. You got to start selling at 34.50, and then you hope to get some stock at 35.50. And what you end up with is something in between the middle. So $35, you want to see it take that out and keep on going. If not, I think you'll be selling into weakness.
All right, let's go ahead and let's get into another one here. I'm seeing mention from Akash at Twitter. Let's take a look at the Twitter.
Oh, Twitter, my nemesis for 2000. I don't want to make any political statements on Twitter. Number one, technically, it looks horrible. That's all I can say.
Yep.
You got beat up after earnings, and you had to rally back up, right? Just like total euphoria, and now you're giving it back. And you know what? I'll let the people make their own decision on this one. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the The Bat Cave calling me. All
All
right.
right, all
Let's
right.
make it easy. No, let's make it easy for the folks at home. Um, Let me try it one more time. I'm not as adept at this trade station here as you would be, Mitch, but there you go. The street's making this
Oh,
decision here, right? You had that big decline after earnings, you filled the gap, and now you're coming back and you gave halfway back. So you figure that exact number. It looks right around 48 bucks. And if Twitter can reclaim that 48 bucks, then hey, why not go to 56? I think the longer it stays here, the longer you have a chance of going back and testing this low. That low was actually 38.83. You're on mute again.
all right, all right. So let's go ahead and let's get into the next one here. Let's picking out a next stock here. Sarah bringing in Disney, the House of Mouse.
How? So, my lord, when's the last time we talked about that? Uh, I mean, isn't absolutely everybody on what's that called? Disney Plus?
I gotta be honest. Full disclosure here, guys. I probably would have been the person to have said that I would never pay for Disney Plus, but last week, guys, became a
You bought
member.
it?
Yep, yep. I have Disney Plus. I am a
What are you
subscribed
watching
member
on
now.
it? What are you watching
Uh,
on
w-
that?
one of the things is I really like the nostalgic aspect. You know, I watch some of the older movies that I used to love. I mean, hey, I might get some bash for
So
this, but I was
older
watching
movies that
Lion
you
King.
used to love. Oh, Lion King,
The
exactly.
Lion King, come on. You gotta watch The Lion King, Joel.
Ah, Shabenga. Actually, that was the first movie I ever took my oldest daughter to. And how old are you, Mitch?
I just hit the 30. Just hit the 30.
Okay, so she's a little. So you were born in what? Obviously you were born in
Uh,
91,
no, I'm a 90. I'm a 90s
90.
child.
Okay, she was born in 92. We took her to her first Disney movie when she was 5. Or no, no, not even 5. She was like 3 or 4. And they flashed it up, and she looked at that, and she goes, or maybe she was 3, and she goes, "Wow, look at those big letters on the screen." That was the first thing she said. Uh, that was a long time ago. This is what I would say about the House of Mouse. And I don't know if you're long or short or indifferent, but you got a gap up from this area, right? Because of the Disney Plus numbers. So that's it. What is that? 165, 166. As long as it could stay above that area, it's in a nice uptrend. If not, I would expect it to fill that gap and be down in the lower 150s. People are selling in the strength on it. So that's it. It's just been kind of sleepy. Market volatile here in the last minutes. We did sell off going into to the long weekend. Let's take a look at the S&Ps. A down week here based on I add the S. A down week based on the dailies, and we'll see what happens over the weekend. We just had a lot of time at 3,800 and couldn't pierce through it. So, as always, we'll keep an eye on this low from today, 37.4150. That's the weekly low. And as long as we hold above that, we're still things are indicating north, but not a great reaction to the $1.9 trillion stimulus package announced.
I got a question for you here, Joel. If we wake up on Tuesday and the market has gapped up or gapped down, what would put you at a feeling of more uncertainty on a gap down, or what would make you feel like, okay, that was just maybe like that buy the dip moment, and we're getting right back up in those levels?
If we gapped up,
Yeah, like
if
what
we if
level
we
do we need
gap
to gap up to?
if we gap up at all, I would sell it. And if we
Hey,
gap down, I would wait for a bounce.
hey, you guys heard it. The biggest part of that one is just to get a little bit more insight into Joel mind, right? All right, guys. Like always, at the end of the day, guys, remember all content in this informational purpose is not to be used as investment advice. Opinions do not represent those of Benzinga. What we do here, guys, is try to teach you guys the process and how we approach everything, and you guys get to hear from a master like Joel and Dennis every single day. So if you haven't seen the Pre-Market Prep show, definitely check it out. That's in the morning. But like always, guys, smash the like. We'll be back with you guys on Tuesday morning. Because Monday, if you guys show up, I won't be here. I don't know about you, Joel.
I'm the master of one thing: disaster.
Oh, the master disaster. Hey, well, guess what? I'll take the master disaster with me any day. All right, guys, we'll see you next time on At the Close. Everybody smash the like. We want to share this with everybody so that we can build up a bigger community. One of the things that I like about At the Close is that, it's a big community of sharing trading ideas. So definitely share it with your friends. Let's get some more people on At the Close. See you next time.